Hello guys, and what is going on, and welcome back to yet another touchdowns to home runs. Now, straight off the bat, if you've watched this channel a lot before, you will be able to realize that things are a bit different right now. You can't see me. I am having some technical difficulties right now. I did switch cameras, and in doing that, I just got my new camera in the mail today. I got a nice new 4K camera because I wanted to bring better video quality to this channel and everything like that. To show you guys some videos in better quality and everything. But the camera I got absolutely sucked. There was this weird flashing going on every time I take videos. The audio wasn't great. Everything was just weird about the camera and didn't work. So that nice 4K camera, I'm sending it back to Amazon. It did not work at all. So right now I'm stuck without a camera. I used to use my phone camera, but I kind of stopped doing that, and I kind of wanted to move on from that ever since I did switch on from it, because I just think it makes it look more professional when I use a better quality camera than just my phone camera. So I'm stuck here. I'm just going to use the audio for now. I don't know when I'm going to get a new camera to film videos and everything, so just for now I'm going to be filming just the audio and everything, so you guys could just give a listen. In these videos where I'm just talking about stuff, there isn't really any need for you to look at me anyways. I'm not showing anything. It's just me talking about our topic for today, and that is that the Big Ten has just opened up that they are going to be playing games this season for football, which is new because we thought a couple months ago they said Big Ten and Pac-12 are both out of the season. They're not playing at all, that they are canceled. They don't want to play because of coronavirus and everything. And there are a lot of players and coaches who were upset about that, and a lot of teams who are upset about that, especially Nebraska being one of them. And then just recently, in the last month or so of September and everything, there has been lots of talk about, the Big Ten could be coming back in late November. The Big Ten could be coming back later in this season that everyone else is playing. And then today we just got news that the league is to play an 8-game schedule plus one consolation game on championship week, and this is all supposed to kick off. I've heard a bunch of different things. Here it says October 24th in this thing I'm reading right now. So Big Ten football coming back on October 24th. That is not for a while. We still got a month and a couple weeks or so till that still. SEC football hasn't even started yet. That's supposed to kick off September 21st. My South Carolina Gamecocks play Tennessee that day. We also have, what other good games do we have that week? We have Kentucky Auburn that week, LSU Mississippi State. After that, October 3rd, which is actually something I've been working on with Helinski's Hope Foundation, Mental Health Awareness Day in college football, also known as 3-Day, is that day. So teams like we have Alabama, Texas A&M, Missouri, Tennessee, South Carolina, Vanderbilt's in. There's a bunch of other schools. So sorry if I forgot, if I didn't mention them. But there are a bunch of them who are going to be helping us in ending this fight, ending the stigma around mental health on that day, October 3rd. So I cannot wait for that. There's some good games also that weekend. We have Alabama, Texas A&M that weekend, South Carolina, Florida's that weekend, and then you also got Georgia and Auburn being the late game that weekend. So I'm excited for that. Lots of good SEC football to be played so far. In college football, we haven't seen any real big blockbuster games. We have seen a couple upsets. One in mind was the big one this week. We had Louisiana Lafayette take down Iowa State. That was probably the big game. I watched that one. Louisiana Lafayette's special teams killed Iowa State there. I think they scored 2 touchdowns on special teams there. So that was a huge help for Louisiana Lafayette to pull through in that game and win that game. Another shocker, the Sun Belt Conference won 3 games against the Big 12 this weekend. Who was it? It was Coastal Carolina beat Kansas. I can't remember who beat Kansas State. I'm sorry, I forgot who beat Kansas State. And then there was one other one. I think it was it App State who won? Who's the other team? Sorry, I'm drawing a blank right now. I don't know why I can't remember who those other teams were, but there was 3 Big 12 teams who did lose to Big 12 teams this week, so that was a huge shocker in college football. But the Big Ten coming back, I just want to talk about what this means for the college football playoff, what this means for the Big Ten and everything like that, and how this will affect how the rest of the football season is going. So right now we have 2 conferences playing, 2 Power 5 conferences playing. We have the ACC and the Big 12. SEC starts later. As I said, Pac-12 is still out for now, and you got the Big 10 who's just said that they're going to rejoin. So those teams are getting a bit of a, I don't want to say head start, kind of a head start, because they get to play some games earlier, get into more game situations. Even though they're not against amazing teams, you're still playing games against people that aren't your own practice squad. So it is going to help those teams in some sense. Again, the only real threats in those teams for the college football playoff out of the teams that are playing, you got teams like Clemson, you got teams like Notre Dame, you got teams like Texas, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma there. And with the Big Ten coming back, there was a lot of predictions that I'd seen recently, especially on College Game Day. A lot of people felt like a group of 5 team with just 3 of these conferences playing, that a group of 5 team was going to be able to sneak into the playoff this year. And now that the Big Ten is joining back, and it sounds like that they are going to be allowed to be in the playoff conversation, that's going to hinder that a lot. Like, you had a lot of people say Cincinnati's a team that looking like they're going to run the table in the AAC, win the AAC, and they're going to be an undefeated team. And with all these conferences out and everything, and you only have 2 or 3 Power 5 conferences playing, and you want to take mostly conference winners, and you have this undefeated team from the group of 5, why not take them into the playoff? A group of 5 team has never made the playoff before. So let's see. This seemed like the year that it was going to be like, let's see how a group of 5 team compare in the playoff and everything, and how they can do for just future situations, how we're going to run things if we are going to let Power 5 teams in the future. So that was looking like something that could happen, but now with the Big Ten in, you got 4 Power 5 conferences that are going to be playing for this college football playoff right now. That kind of seems like a stretch, unless there's a lot of just up and downs in the Big Ten and everyone kind of goes like 5-4, something like that. It's looking like whoever comes out of the Big Ten will have a shot at this college football playoff. A team like Ohio State is obviously the favorite right now with their quarterback Justin Fields. Had a great season last year, sadly lost to Clemson in the semifinal of the college football playoff. That was a great game though, questionable targeting call there. There's other teams in that conference that are really good. You got Penn State, even though they lose Micah Parsons, who decided to opt out. Penn State's still a really good team. Excited to see them play. Michigan's another good team. And then you got teams like Minnesota still. Minnesota loses Rashad Bateman, which was a huge loss for them, who also opted out. But like Wisconsin's still a good team. Michigan State's still a decent team. You got lots of talent in that conference. Iowa's a good team. So definitely do not doubt some of these teams that aren't Ohio State to make a run for it, especially when you have no clue how these teams are going to be like without practicing, without all this stuff, because the Big Ten did not think that they were going to be playing this season. So lots of shakeup that could happen in the Big Ten. But obviously you have Ohio State as the front runner to win the Big Ten and make the college football playoff. I want to talk about this what do they call it? Consolation game at the end. So you play your 8 game, every team's going to have an 8 game schedule, and then the same week that the Big Ten championship is played, which is set for December 19th, the 9th game is also going to be played on December 19th, and everyone who doesn't make that championship game is going to be put into another game. And the Big Ten says that they're going to try to make it versus a team that you have not already played. So that's going to be very interesting to see. Just a consolation games, how they're going to set up those games. Because if you got a team like, let's say, Michigan or Penn State, they don't make it because they're in the East. Ohio State's the big dog. They just have that one loss, and there's a tight race in the playoff and everything. How is the Big Ten going to decide who Penn State plays in that game? Even though Penn State is not going for the Big Ten championship, they're still fighting for a playoff spot just because something crazy in college football happens. How are you going to decide who Penn State plays there? Are you going to put them with the second best team in the West? So that could be like Wisconsin or Minnesota or Iowa or something like that. Or are you going to give them a lower tier team? Just so I'm very curious to see how they decide who the 9th game is going to be, if it's just going to be drawn at random or there's actually going to be some thought process going into that, because that game could actually mean something for some of these teams if it does come down to that, because this is just a season of so many questions and so many crazy things that could happen in college football. So that ninth game, I'm very interested to see how that is determined. But now with Ohio State in playing, I think that they're an easy prediction for the college football playoff, even though that there's so much that could be changed about how college football is going and how these teams actually play. I still think that Ohio State is one of the best teams in the nation. So my playoff predictions right now, Ohio State's definitely going to be in there. Alabama's going to be in there. Clemson, even though I hate to say it because I am a Gamecocks fan, I have to put Clemson in there. I'd much prefer see an SEC 2 team, like the second team out of the SEC. So that could either be like you have the loser in the conference game. So that could be like a Florida or a Georgia. Or you could take the second team out of the West Division. So you could have LSU come back to the playoff. You could have Auburn. You could have Texas A&M. Lots of schools that I would rather see play in the playoff, and another SEC school play in the playoffs just to add depth to the games, just to make the games way more interesting, because I want to see the best 4 teams in the playoff and not the best team from each conference in the playoff. I think that's something that really needs to be stressed and started to be taught in that college football committee room, because we have missed out on some good teams playing in the playoff just because of their record compared to teams in conferences that aren't even close to competitive as that. Like the SEC versus the ACC, clear difference in competition. SEC versus the Pac-12, SEC versus the Big 12 even. There's a huge gap of competitiveness. So I would like to see really this season the playoff committee, because the SEC has to play all conference schedules. So teams could come out of there. The best team in the SEC could come out with 2 losses, 3 losses, because that's just how competitive it is. I want to see the playoff committee really show that they picked the 4 best teams to play in the playoff and not just the division or the conference winner from each team and whoever has the nicest, shiniest record. I want to see the best 4 teams in the playoff. So that's something that I'm excited to see and something that I really want to see from the playoff committee. But again, I think that this is really good for Ohio State, and I think it's just really good for all Big Ten teams just showing what they got this year, because you never know what could happen this year. So many questions about even college football even being played. So literally anything could happen this season in college football. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. If you love college football, this is definitely the channel for you, so definitely drop a sub down below. Hit that subscribe button like I just said. I don't know why I said that twice, but that's just how much I want you to subscribe. I want you guys to stick around here so badly. We love the support from our fans. We have some of the best fans on YouTube. They tell us all the times, and we promise that we will make good content for you. Like the video, and definitely come back next time.